Recording. Okay. What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode here on Above Average. If you're new to the channel, thanks for clicking on this video. Really appreciate it. Today, we are talking about the Buffalo Sabres and their continued struggles they've had for what? Now 15 years? Who's counting? I'm counting. 15 years. Mark it. Yeah, we're talking about the Buffalo Sabres today and just talk about the struggles that they've continued to have throughout this year. And it's really unfortunate because I was big on the Sabres this year. I thought they were finally going to make the playoffs after what is it? Yeah, honestly, what is it? 14 years now? 2010. So it's going on 14 years. Yeah, the 14 years the Buffalo Sabres have not made the playoffs, and that sucks. That really sucks. So that's what we're talking about today, just the Buffalo Sabres. And yeah, let's just dive right into this thing. So what is going on in Buffalo? Honestly, no one knows. I have no clue. But what I do know is they are not nearly as close to the team as they were last year. As far as scoring goes, last year they were second in league scoring for offense, and this year I can't even find a stat where they are, but it's not nearly as close. Anytime your superstar players, in this case Tage Thompson, you know, he was coming off of a career year last year. I thought he was going to be a 100-point player this season, but right now Tage Thompson currently has 19 points in 26 games played. When you're not getting offense from your leading producers, yeah, your team's definitely gonna slide. But it's not even just Tage Thompson. You look at it right now, their leading scorer in points is their defenseman Rasmus Dahlin, 29 points in 34 games played. Then it goes to Casey Mittelstadt, 29 points in 35 games played. I'm sorry, Casey Mittelstadt should not be your second, it should not be second in team scoring for you guys, especially when you have the likes of Dylan Cousins, Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck, even Jeff Skinner. Jeff Skinner's third, but Casey Mittelstadt, like, no knock to you. Yeah, it's great that this guy is doing pretty good for the team this year, but he should be at that rate, if not more, if Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck and the rest of the group were producing, so it's not a good look. It's not a good look, but what is a good look? He's +7. That's pretty impressive. Jeff Skinner is currently third in team scoring with 25 points in 32 games played. JJ Peterka, 25 points in 35 games played. Alex Tuck, 24 points in 28 games played. But then 6, Tage Thompson. I have talked about Tage Thompson at length. He is one of, if not my favorite players. Last year, I just loved the story, how the St. Louis Blues, they gave up on him, and now he's finding himself in the Buffalo Sabres organization, and he just crushed it last year. Last year, Tage Thompson got 94 points in 78 games played. This year, he's barely going to make 60 points on his current pace, and that is a huge downfall, and it's not good. It's not good. I was wrong about this team. I made a video, and maybe they still have the pieces, but they're just really not putting them together. I said that this team could. Realistically, they have the pieces of being, a next great dynasty is what I called it. Do I believe in that? Maybe a little less now, but I still really do like this team. The roster, everything about it. Like, you got Rasmus Dahlin, Casey Mittelstadt, Jeff Skinner, JJ Peterka, Alex Tuck, Tage Thompson, Dylan Cousins, Kyle Pozo. Zach Benson's on he's a rookie. He's going to be a really good player for them. You look at the goal he scored earlier in the season. You got Owen Power. So they have a lot of really good pieces. Haven't even mentioned Peyton Krebs, who I think is going to be a 60, maybe 50-point player. They got Jack Quinn, who I absolutely think is going to be a point per game player once he gets a few more games under his belt. I really love Matt Savoy. As far as the prospects that they got, they have such good pieces. They just need to mesh, and they need to all work together, and they haven't found that yet. But so it is frustrating. Sabres fans, I'm sorry. Will they make the playoffs? It's not really looking like it, which sucks. Right now, the Buffalo Sabres are currently in 7th place in the Atlantic Division with 35 games under their belt, 14 wins, 17 losses, and 4 overtime losses. Good enough for 32 points. So there was one thing that I did want to mention, and I was bringing this up with some people at work. I told them, yeah, guys, what's going on with the Sabres? I love the Sabres, and everyone was kind of in the same, they agreed. They've got some really good pieces. But one thing that was brought up, and I had no idea about this, is apparently the Buffalo Sabres are one of 3 teams in the NHL that have solely purposed themselves as an organization to just base themselves off of analytics. They're huge on analytics, and so All these players have really, really good analytics, and that's what they were going for. But when they put them together, this team didn't really seem to work well. And that's like one thing as far as analytics go. Yeah, I get analytics. I in some sports more than others, not really so much in hockey. For me, I've always been a big eye test kind of guy. You know, does he pass the eye test? I don't care about his, his wins above replacement, any of that bull crap. And you just never know. And it's for reasons like this. You base all these guys with like super good analytics. You put them together on a team, so they should be really, really good, and they're not. So that's why you can't base all of it on analytics. They didn't have analytics in the 80s, the 70s, 90s, and all that. And there were some dynasties. It was all from the eye test and just knowing which player was good, not basing it off of stupid stats. Buffalo Sabres are one team, and I know what you're gonna say. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they're huge on analytics, and they ended up winning a Stanley Cup. I'm not saying analytics don't really work for some teams, but every team's different, right? You're not going to get that exact same outcome if you base analytics. So I'm not going to dive into that any much more, because I get heated when people talk about analytics and, oh, analytics this, and no, shut up. Like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just done with analytics. I just wanted to bring that up. It is interesting, and it does kind of suck, but Sabres fans, if you're watching, and just know, I'm an Oilers fan. I know what it's like to miss the playoffs for, over 10 years. You guys are set to make the record, which I think you already have set the record, which is kind of sad. So I do apologize for that. What can I tell you? Here's just hoping that they come out of the Christmas break strong. I can't imagine this is Tage Thompson. He's way too good to be putting up these numbers. Sometimes that happens with players. They have a monster year, and then you look at their next year, they kind of take a step back. Jason Robertson, he also last year just popped off, and he's kind of taken a little bit back this year. Connor McDavid as well, we're seeing it, just having a historic season last year. This year, he's kind of slowed down a little bit, so it is to be expected. I expect Tage Thompson to, it could be as early as whenever the new year is. Really, it could be. But all I want to, just coming from a Canadian, an Oilers fan, I just want you to know that I really still do like your team, and whatever it takes, whenever they find their chemistry, I honestly believe this team will be good. They just haven't found that yet. Is it a coaching change? I don't really know. I'm not the biggest fan of Don Granato, but who knows? It honestly, they could get a new coach, and but it's another thing. They're kind of like the Oilers. There becomes a time you just got to quit. You just got to stick with one coach, because it kind of looks embarrassing from an outsider's perspective. So, Sabres fans, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section, as I read every single one. Thanks for clicking on this video. If you found it enjoyable, don't leave a like. I'm super adamant about that. Every time I say that, you guys seem to like it more and more. So stop it. Honestly, just don't leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sabres fans, let's go. Here's hoping you can turn it around. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh, don't be average when you can be above average. Peace.